Hello, this is Neil from mypaintgirls.com, and in this tutorial, this is a live tutorial, so it'll be in real time, and we're going to be drawing women that are sleeping, women that are dead. And there's really not much difference between a woman that's asleep and a woman that's dead. When you're sleeping, all your muscles truly relax, and that's kind of hard to achieve sometimes, is that complete relaxed state, because if you're going to try to work from a photo reference, really need that person that's doing the photo to really be relaxed. And how do you get someone to really relax like that? I mean, truly relax. Well, maybe you can send them through a relaxing technique like the one I have here on my site, and that might actually work. So, but you need to definitely get that person to really relax. They have to relax all their muscles a lot, and this foot, the ground's all coming down, so this foot actually has to be pushed up by the ground. So keep in mind, as the body is pushing down into the ground is pushing back up into the body. If you keep that idea in mind, it'll really help a lot. So I need to really push back up on that foot, and so rather the foot needs to be kind of like it's coming off, you know, that way over there. Something, all the ground needs to be pushing up on the foot, and you might want to really exaggerate that by the way you draw lines and stuff, and everything. So I'm not really gonna bother with the foot too much though. This leg right here, let's say she's on a hardwood floor, right? So I'm gonna change this to where she's on a hardwood floor, so I'm gonna have to change some stuff. And as this leg is being pushed up on, it's gonna be kind of flattened, right? Because there's a lot of meat between here and the bone, so you really could flatten. Actually, the bone's probably somewhere in there. You can really flatten this leg a lot and get that nice look of. And so how I'm going to do that is, first I want to draw like a completely straight line. So I'm going to use like a size 1 just to do this really quick. Go from here to here, make a complete straight line. I'm going to be erasing that anyway. And then I want to slightly pull this out a little bit. It's going to be kind of like coming out and a little bit flattened, but sort of an arch coming back up like that. And I can erase a lot of that, and then I have what I need there to kind of draw the line. So it's kind of like that. So it's really kind of being pushed out. And then you might be able to really bring that out more with how you color and shade it. So you, like, let's say you have all this shaded in, then a little bit shading right here to really show that, that's where it's being pushed up. And then this is the part that the kind of roll that's being rolled out, and that's where the highlight would be, depending where the shadow's at and everything. Then of course you'd have shadow back under the leg here, but only where it's touching, not where it's not touching. There's a little gap there where it's not touching, so something like that, and that will really help, sell that, convince the person that's looking at it that, yeah, okay, I can see how that is being pushed. I'm just gonna leave it at line work though. Alright, so let's go ahead and go back here enough. Something like there we go. Maybe I'll just kind of hint at the shadow there a little bit, where one shadow might be, depending where the light's coming from. Right, so then this other part here, the legs coming out here, and notice that a lot of from about here to up in here, none of that's touching anything. I won't be touching the ground. Now, of course, her belly here is all touching the ground, so it's like right about there touching the ground. So you want to keep all that in mind as you're drawing. So all that's touching the ground, and then her leg over here is where it starts touching the ground again. And so all this is kind of being pushed up underneath, and all this is kind of being pushed up a little bit. And you really don't have to change much on how this would all look. But one thing you want to keep in mind is that muscles relax when a person is dead or truly sleeping. And so if you want someone, like I said, to pretend like they're sleeping and to get a photo reference, or to pretend to be dead and get a photo reference, or if you want to take potentially, these photos where they try to, fake the viewer and thinking the person's actually dead, then you're going to want to really make sure you relax that person before you take the photo. Have them lay down and send them to some sort of relaxing technique, because you really need to get all those muscles to relax. And that's really hard to do just like on cue, just like lay down and do it. You have to really, go through some sort of relaxing technique to get there. Notice her breast, it kind of comes out and then it kind of flattens. So the plane, you want to imagine different planes that she's lying on, right? Because the ground is starting from way over there and it's coming out toward us like that. And so you have to imagine the different planes that she's lying on. So all this right here is like lying on one plane, let's say. I don't know if that's the right word for it, but that's how I imagine it, is there's a line here that she's lying on, and I want to put all that meat, and then there's another line that's separate that the breast is lying on, and I want to make sure I do all this right. So this line, all the gravity is pushing up here, so I really want to make sure all that is being kind of straightened. All that is kind of off, so there's another spot here where there's nothing touching, which is natural. If you try to lay down and touch that part of your body, it's really difficult. If you just relax and allow all your muscles droop, notice all muscles are going to be kind of drooping down, drooping down, drooping down. You want to imagine that as you're drawing it, because let's say you reference the person isn't all that relaxed as they should be, so you want to exaggerate certain things and really just droop and drop everything down. So you kind of press the breast out, and then kind of, same trick I did on the leg. It's the same type of deal, and then you'd have the highlight being right about here somewhere. Then you'd have kind of more shadow in here, like that. Kind of like, imagine if you were to flatten out a balloon on a table. It's kind of like that. So, and notice also her weight is being pushed down this way a little bit. So all her upper body weight, however she had originally lied down, she would have this upper body would have pushed that way when she lied down, or when she lay down, and then the breast is being pushed the opposite way because it's like a separate body part. So if she would have been rather pushed down this way, then her breast would have been pushed that way, which means I'd have to draw most of it over here. And so that's if I made her have larger breasts, you'd even see more of the breast over there being pushed forward like that, and highlight here and like that, all along that area you'd have highlights. So then you'd have, let's say, shadow again here and like here, and I'm just going to kind of bring that shadow out just because I want to show the part that's not touching, like that. So you really want to show how the parts aren't touching there, just for now, just for you can, I want to really show to demonstrate that part. Okay, now her head kind of looks like it's not in the right plane because her neck should be drooping down more. It looks more like she's like her head's being elevated a little bit by a pillow or something. So I want to drop the head down more. I don't feel like redrawing it, so instead I'm just going to kind of highlight it like this. Hold down the Alt key to move this little centerpiece. This is especially useful if you're using a pen like I am with a tablet. So I really want to make sure her head drops down a lot, like so. So like that. Also, I probably want to droop the arm even more than it already is. It's probably not drooped enough. So let me think about this for a moment. Actually, all that is pretty drooped and really relaxed. And then it's kind of getting hit over here, and that's where where it's hitting the ground again, all about in here somewhere, and then all that is off. That looks about right. And then you can have her hand out over there somewhere, thumb, and so forth. Fingers can be all, relaxed and doing whatever they're doing. I'm not sure what her fingers would be doing yet. Now this part of the arm, you really want to think about, there's that one piece of fat comes under there, and so you want to have that kind of fat touching, and a little bit of that part of the arm be touching like that. All that part would be shaded. It's hard to imagine what her shoulder would look like, but I think it'd be kind of like that. You'd kind of see part of that under part where the bone attaches into, and it kind of creates that crease. So if you look at the deltoid from the top view, the deltoid is kind of shaped like this. Actually, I want to do a tutorial on just the deltoid again because it's just such an important muscle to know. And then you'd have the other thick muscle that overlaps that, and that comes here, and that would be like your neck muscle, trapezius, whatever it's called. And then that's your shoulder. So that's from the top view, right? And then the head would be like that. So just remember that that's the general shape of the shoulder, and it really helps when you're drawing it to remember that. Remember muscles in their like basic shapes, and it really help you to get drawing down. So that arm looks pretty relaxed, like it's all being weighted down and the weight's being pushed back up on it. Make sure, always remember that any time a body part droops, follow it to its conclusion. If a body part's relaxed, follow it all the way down to its conclusion. That is where it hits, and then imagine there's an opposite thing pushing back up on that object. And so in this case, you have all these muscles being torqued and pushed back up on by, by the ground. And so you can tweak that muscle a little bit by adding in that slight, you know, bend in there, right here. Notice that all the weight forced up through the arm, and actually affected this very top muscle here. And you can kind of, exaggerate the lines to show that, hey, gravity has taken effect here. So I want to kind of exaggerate that right there, not too much, but enough where it has a little dip in it, and that it really just sells the idea that gravity has pushed up on that. And you can also have gravity push up on the ribs and everything, so you can have all the rib cages are being pushed up upon by gravity, and so you can show that up here, because remember the rib cage is like this, where you see kind of side of the rib cage like this, and it kind of comes up and around like that, so you kind of have part of this like rib cage here, and you can kind of push those ribs up a little bit like that and just kind of exaggerate it, even if it's not, in any sort of reference thing you're looking at. Just kind of exaggerate it anyway, just because it looks cool, and you can do that. Here, you can also kind of have gravity pushing up on these ribs a little bit, and so you can like have a faint line showing that. And if you're going to be painting or coloring, however you decide to do it, you can represent that as well. And so just go through and imagine little parts like that, like how there's this middle muscle in between here. You can exaggerate how it looks by slightly pushing it up. So instead of just drawing it how you normally would, slightly push it up, because the ground is pushing like a shock wave. All this goes here, and then the shock wave, after this hits and it's flattened out, the shock wave goes back up from the ground. The ground pushes through all these muscles and pushes that line up a little bit. That's the way to think about it, at least. And it'll really help you remember to like exaggerate certain things like that. You can even have it going all the way up and exaggerate that butt, and really, kind of push the butt curve up a little bit and all that kind of stuff. But that might make it look like there's too much action there. So there's some places where you don't want to do it because it might look like all this isn't drooping enough. And so part of this leg is not on the ground, like this part's on the ground, and that foot right there is on the ground. All that's not on the ground because it can't, because you're dealing with bone there, and that bone is curved and can't be flattened out by gravity. So you just have to imagine how it's all going to fall, hit the ground. Treat some parts of the body, like this part of the body, treat it like a piece of wood that's connected, a piece of, or a bar that's connected from here to here, and then there's like a bar there, and it's kind of curved. So just treat that as like a solid piece of mass that can't be messed up by the floor. Same thing, elbow, solid mass here, but the muscle can be pushed up on. You can really exaggerate this down motion of the neck too some more. Like I can really draw the head, maybe even start over here more, and then just really exaggerate that neck, like it's really being, and then this spine right here as it comes like down over there somewhere, I can really just pull that into the head there, really exaggerate that more, and that might look like it's more relaxed to me and pulled down upon. Right, so I don't know if I'll have enough time to do another quick sketch. It looks like not, maybe less than 2 minutes. Right, so instead I think what I'll do is a quick thing on a butt maybe. And, oh, I didn't mean to delete that. Go back, hold on. I just meant to do that and make a new one. Okay, so let's say the person's kind of lying on the ground, and lying is correct when you're referring to present tense. Go ahead and look it up. A lot of people see it seems counterintuitive. So you'd have her shoulder over here, and that's going to be kind of flat, and then she has her back's an arch just because she's not actually sleeping or something, and she's not dead. And then you'd have the butt being kind of flattened out. So you want to draw like a straight line first, and then you can kind of curve the butt up like this. And then you'd have, the legs as they come up this way, up to the knee area somewhere. And then kind of, that kind of shape for the leg on the side view there. Then you have the belly coming up like that over there somewhere. I just want to focus on this part because I only have a little bit of time left to do this. So first, draw a straight line where the whole back and butt is hitting. And then just kind of take it out, and where there's more meat, just kind of not quite flat, kind of like that. And then this is going to kind of come up. You're going to have kind of like the part of the butt kind of coming like that or so. Just depends how much meat she has, how much butt she has. And then that will kind of blend into the leg up here, into that big thigh muscle right there, the under thigh. Right, so that's all the time I really have right now to go into. And then you can actually have the shoulder coming out toward us, armpit right around here, and then bicep and all that be coming over there, and then you have this kind of wing muscle here, and then that curve arch in the back. Because in this case, like I said, the person's not actually going to be sleeping or whatever. We could easily change this to where they're sleeping or lying down. It wouldn't be too hard. We just have to flatten all this down. And push it into the gravity, push it back up into it. Okay, I'm out of time. Thank you for watching. If you want to see part 2 to this, you want to know more about how to draw people that are dead and sleeping, let me know, or just like dealing with gravity in general with poses, because it can be quite difficult and it's an advanced subject. Thank you for watching.